When it comes to natural bodybuilding, now you might be asking yourself this question, a guy like me, right? I am a natural bodybuilder. I've competed in natural professional bodybuilding. I've won all my major titles in that realm. And so you would think a guy like me has a certain appreciation for the fact that, you know, natural bodybuilding, I should be promoting the sport, all of that. However, I have to say I'm not a part of the organization, nor am I part of the promoting anymore. I used to be. And as a result of all of this, I have a different perspective of it. And I'm going to give you those 3 reasons why. It just plain sucks. The number one reason, you know, by far and away, is there's no money in natural bodybuilding. In that sport, we have hardly a supplement company wants to use natural bodybuilders of any type to represent their product. Why? Because they're generally smaller, because they're generally, you know, we don't run, you know, 350 pounds of muscle. We don't run, you know, 250 pounds of muscle, forget 350, 250. We don't run, you know, 5'8", 245 pounds. It doesn't work that way. So we're generally about 60 pounds lighter than the drug counterparts. And so it's not as shocking. So people would look at us versus, you know, some of those guys and go, well, you know, why would you want to look that way? You know, as opposed to as big as you can get. So if someone's selling their product, sponsors, companies, supplement companies especially, if they want to sell their product, you know, it's advertising. There's more of a shock effect, you know, having somebody who's big and blown out. And so it also creates a belief system that they somehow got that way from using that product that they're trying to sell. So of course, you know, there's a hook to that. So there's a problem. There's no money in competing in natural bodybuilding either. In the sport, relatively speaking, the Mr. Olympia in drug untested bodybuilding, you know, last I checked had a $400,000 first prize with corresponding second, third, fourth prizes going down about half. So it's 400, 200, 100, like that. Something like that. So when you're talking about $400,000, that's more than a decent living. That's several years' income for some people, depending on where they live and the conditions under which they live. In natural bodybuilding, last I checked, last year, the prize money, the biggest prize money that I could find as far as money goes. I'm talking about hard cash now. The biggest prize money that I could find was about $6,000 with a swing up to $10,000 if you were to win the World Championships and take with that, you know, your class, the overall as well, not just your class. About $10,000. You know, you're number 1 in the world and you just made about $10,000. So it's drastically lower. Now, my friends over the years that I've known in natural bodybuilding, a couple of world champions, they've gone on and they've done well enough where, you know, they did save up enough from their winnings to put a nice down payment down on a house. And so they did the smart thing, but they still had their jobs. They weren't making a living from natural bodybuilding. So again, no money in that sport. The second big reason why it sucks is the infighting between the natural organizations. While in the untested drug bodybuilding realm, there's 1 or 2 major organizations. There can't be a whole bunch of fighting when you're only talking about 2 organizations, right? So when you have multiple, as in 4 or more, in natural bodybuilding, it's easy for them to cut each other down. It's easy for them to look at each other and say, nah, and they did this, and they did that, and they don't do this right, and they don't really drug test, and they do really drug test, but they don't test for the right things. You know, things like that. It gets to the insanely stupid, and they look like nitpicky children. So that's not very becoming. So, and of course, there's also the constant looking at the, you know, from the natural perspective of organizations and promoters. They look at the untested events and organizations with a bit of jealousy. So again, it's not very becoming. as opposed to figuring out ways to promote even greater their own sport and their own contests, get more exposure. Now, speaking of which, of course, some of you will bring up that Generation Iron just came up with a movie on natural bodybuilding. Yes, they did, with using just one organization. That organization happens to own the titles, Natural Mr. Olympia and Natural Mr. Universe. That's really one of the big reasons why they went that realm. It's not the best organization that there is. It's just, in my opinion, it's just they have those great titles. So pretty cool to make a movie about that. And it does promote the sport to a degree. Yet, the sport still sucks. It's not there yet. Okay, just saying. So, lastly, if you're interested as a bodybuilder, up and coming from the very beginning, of being, big and massive and looking big in your clothes and, having people see you and wonder, this man, that guy's got a physique. Wow, look at him. So if your ego is looking to get any kind of a stroke whatsoever, the third thing is that you better, as a natural bodybuilder, be prepared to look just simply as an athlete in your clothes. That's all. You'll look like a well-built athlete, at best. So you're not going to be running around looking like you have oodles of muscle underneath your clothing and, people asking left and right. Now, in warmer weather, with less clothes on, shorts, t-shirt, or sleeveless shirts, people will see that you do have a great physique. And generally speaking, on the positive end, I don't want to be all negative here, but on the positive end, natural bodybuilders do have that longevity. So if you continue to train, you can begin as a teenager and you can go on well into later life, right up till the end of the life. And you can maintain a great physique and build and maintain a great physique compared to the untested